Yo, so today I've got a review of the new SZA album, S.O.S. SZA is back. It's been 5 years. Yes, 5 whole years. And she's back with a 23-song album. Can we stop? Please. I'm going to have a word about this as I talk more about the album, but I can tell you already, I do not like the fact that it is 23 songs long. But yeah, SZA is back and I was quite excited to listen to this album since I love Control. I think there's a fair bit of variety in Control and she pulls it off well. It's short, compact, and well executed. S.O.S. on the other hand, in comparison, is more scattered and has some more kind of rap-centered songs like the outro, Forgiveless, where SZA literally has an ODB feature. Well, it's a sample, but you know, you get what I mean. Come on. But honestly, it doesn't feel really focused and sounds like a compilation of songs she made. The tracks don't feel fully fleshed out, at least not most of them, but for example, Good Days, which had released a while ago, sounds well thought out and it's one of my favorites from the project. But then there's songs like Smoking on My X-Pack, which like, okay, what is the point of this track? Like genuinely, what is this track meant to do? It's too short and doesn't accomplish anything, it just takes up space on the track list. To be gone for 5 years and to come back with stuff like that, it's honestly a little underwhelming. The album starts off with S.O.S, the title track, which samples champagne poetry, or it samples the same thing that champagne poetry sampled. Look, I don't really know, I don't care. This track is a decent opener. I like what SZA does on here, but it introduces an issue that can be seen throughout the album, and that is the mix. The mix is really weird, honestly. On certain tracks, it definitely works, like on my favorite song of this whole thing, Low. The beat to the song has a pretty heavy 808, and it's not the cleanest beat ever, so I think the mix being a bit muffled actually kind of helps it as it complements the instrumental. I really like Travis's ad-libs here. SZA does well as well. Some lyrics are interesting, not really any writing to write home about, but it can be entertaining at times, so you know, I don't really care. And that's I think the case for most of this project. The lyrics sometimes sound like a 13-year-old girl who just broke up with her boyfriend for the first time wrote them, but at times they can be entertaining. Like for example, on the song Nobody Gets Me, I've seen that song get a bit of hate on Twitter, but honestly on first listen I didn't like it either. I thought it sounded very commercial and it was pretty annoying, but on further listens of S.O.S, I realized that it's a bit of a breather in the track list. It's more out there with the lyrics in certain parts, like she is moving kinda crazy on this, okay?
You were balls deep, now we beefing, let me butt naked at the MGM. Hurry now, baby, stick it in for the memories get to kicking in.
And I can see why someone wouldn't like that, but me personally, I think it's good. Back to the mix though, I've realized on a lot of songs here, the mix is muffled or too overproduced. As I said, on tracks it can work, but for example, on a song like Gone Girl, it doesn't really work. Features wise, there are a few. Don Toliver, Phoebe Bridgers, Travis Scott makes an appearance as well, ODB, which as I said before is a sample. Ghost in the Machine is a song with Phoebe. I mean, SZA is okay. I'm not really familiar with Phoebe's music, but she does good on this. In general, it's fine, it's okay. Used with Don Toliver, this song is just a bit I'm not a huge fan of the beat, and SZA on it sounds a bit weird. Don Toliver should have gotten more time on it, I think, as he does pretty well. Forgiveless, one of my favorites. Both samples work well, and SZA does great. But the Travis Scott song, what went wrong? I like SZA on here. I think she does well, and she creates a cool atmosphere, and honestly, her performance here is a highlight in the album. But then Travis comes in. The mix on his vocals is so different from SZA's, and the vibe he brings is way different. The mix on his vocals I honestly can't stand. It's so different from SZA's, and it sounds unbalanced and odd. He completely ruins the vibe the track had before he came on it. SZA shows off some pretty good vocals on this project. I think she sounds great on a lot of tracks, and she can sing for sure, except on Notice Me, where I think she tries doing too much with her voice. But the chorus on that song is still decent. But to talk about the length, oh man, give me a break. Let me introduce you the idea of album fatigue, or music fatigue. There's this thing referred to as album fatigue, or music fatigue. I don't know if it's actually referred to that. I refer to that myself. But it's when you feel like you've been listening to music or an album for so long to the point where it mushes into itself and starts sounding annoying. I find that this usually happens to me when I'm listening to albums over an hour long that have a lot of songs on them. Like if your project is over an hour and it's like less than 16 songs, I still feel like that's okay. I mean, just look at T-Pab. But there are 23 songs on this record. You eventually get tired of it and want it to end. And for me, that happened around Conceited on the album, which I might add is absolutely awful. That melody is very annoying and it sounds like some shitty YouTube vlogging type of music. Like, oh, look at me, I'm filming out of the car, look at the traffic, look at the fucking sunset, look at... From this point on, I just want to be done with this album, and this is a huge detriment for this project. Yes, even though I think it has some pretty good songs that are worth coming back to, I do not think I can stand listening to this album again. And when it comes to enjoyment of an album, you know, that's a pretty big fucking deal. I can't say I'll be listening to this thing from front to back again. It's just very exhausting. Before we get into my favorite tracks though, make sure you like and subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. To get to my favorite songs, I'd have to start with Kill Bill. I like the chorus a lot, as well as the bass guitar. Low, honestly, it's just a banger. My favorite song of this whole thing. F2F, I didn't know how to feel about this song initially, but it's a palate cleanser on the album, so, you know, I like it. Good Day is the most well thought out song on this album. And Forgiveless, great samples with SZA doing great.
I don't mind competition, it is what it is.
There are some good tracks on S.O.S, as well as some enjoyable performances by SZA, but the project is way too bloated to be enjoyable. I'm gonna have to give this project a decent to strong 4 out of 10. But yeah, that's gonna be it for my review. Tell me what you guys think. If you liked it, tell me why. If you didn't, also tell me why. I'm looking to hear your guys' opinions. I also ranked every song from this album, so check that out if you want to. And please like the video, it will mean so much to me, as it'll help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace!